Next to come on stage will be Mike Volpe from HubSpot. He's a CMO, Chief Marketing Officer of HubSpot, and he will have a keynote about inbound marketing, a love story. Pretty exciting topic. Let's hear about it. Please have me welcome Mike on stage to hear about this love story.
I have found the content today to be fantastic, and I'm very excited to be here. I have two quick questions for you guys. First of all, who is on Twitter, like right now? Like everyone, right? So I'm M. Volpe, good, bad, ugly. I want to hear about it, so please send me some feedback. The second question I have is, how many of you are marketers? Okay, so actually it's a good mix here. I love it. I'm a marketer. I'm not ashamed to admit that, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. My final survey question, just to help me do my job better, how many of you have heard of HubSpot before coming here? Oh, okay, not bad, pretty good. All right, thank you. So I'm going to talk about love, which is kind of a weird thing for me to do because I'm a very analytical marketer. I'm not the lovey-dovey sort of brand-centric marketer. I'm much more of a numbers and cents kind of person. But I'm doing this because numbers drove me to this presentation. There's the folks, the organization in North America called the Gallup poll. They run polls on political polls, on surveys, lots of information. They do lots of polling. And they did this poll about what the most lovable professions were. And I feel like I'm a pretty lovable guy. I'm a marketer. I think we do some pretty cool stuff. I think we should be lovable. The problem is, this poll said that we were less lovable than stockbrokers and lawyers. Now, I don't want to make too much fun of stockbrokers and lawyers, but as a marketer, I would hope that we'd be more lovable than those folks. The good news was we were more lovable than car salespeople and lobbyists, political lobbyists. So we have something that we can sort of point to that we're doing an okay job. But to me, this is really dismaying as a marketer. I feel like I should be lovable. And then I thought about it some more. And here's the problem. Most of the things we do as marketers don't actually make people want to love us. And when you really think about a lot of what we've done historically as marketers, we haven't done a good job of earning the love and earning the trust of everyone, and our consumers, our prospective consumers, people that receive all this crap from us all the time. It's really tough. And I think as a marketer, it's something that really dismays me. And I think what's happening now, this is about more than just a shift to digital, because you can still use digital to spam. You can still use mobile to spam. You can still use social to spam. I think the big change here is what's the philosophy that we as marketers need to embrace so we can become more lovable. And consumers are finding more and more ways to block out what we're doing as marketers. I'm not going to go through these individually. As marketers, we all know that as consumers, we're now in control. And I think the best way to fix our lovability problem as marketers, so I can feel good about telling my family what I do for a living, is for us to actually be more lovable. And wouldn't it be cool if the marketing we made actually made people want to love us, not want to hate us, and not want to block out our marketing, right? So how do we do this? I think it means we need to take a philosophical shift in how we think about marketing. And it's not about getting in front of people's faces, but how it is, can we be the thing that they want to hang out with? Can we be the thing that attracts them to us? And it's not about going out, it's much more about bringing them into us. And I'm going to talk about some of the philosophical ways that I've tried in the past few years, because I've been one of those evil marketers. I've in prior jobs had teams that did cold calling. And then I went back to my desk and I saw my own phone ring and I saw the caller ID come up and I didn't answer the phone. And then I thought maybe I should do something differently. So we're going to talk about this a little bit. One of the things that we've really tried to embrace at HubSpot is we don't always succeed, but we try really hard to be lovable. And when you do that, you get a lot of great feedback. And people actually use the word love to describe things that we do. And that, as a marketer, makes me really, really, really happy, because it means that I'm trying to be more lovable and I'm trying to do something that people like. The cool part about this is if you have this inbound philosophy, you do build love, like I just showed you from all those social messages that talked about people loving HubSpot, but it actually does equal sales. Through just our inbound marketing, people coming to us from social, from SEO, from blogging, from all the things that we do online, we've actually generated $65 million in revenue. And it's been a key component of our growth. We're one of the fastest growing software companies. We're a startup. We've been around for about 5 years. And that's been a key component of our growth. So this stuff there's a huge ROI to it. It does make sense. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about our philosophy of how we think about inbound and how I hope all of you start to think about doing marketing in a new way, so that you can actually have people start to love you more. And I think there's two big components to it. The first component is content, and the second component is context. And I think those two things will help you be a better marketer. So let's talk about content, and what can content do as a component of inbound marketing. The cool thing about content is most people, if you do it right, really like your content. And what I love about content is you get to build up these marketing assets. One cool stat that we've noticed at HubSpot is of the new inquiries we get, new sales inquiries that we get, 70% of them come from blog articles. Of the ones that come from our blog, 70% of them come from articles that we didn't write this month. So it's our older content that often contributes this huge amount. And what that means is we've built up these big marketing assets that continue driving an ROI for our business. So I could send the whole marketing team on vacation into HubSpot, and our new lead flow, our new sales flow actually wouldn't drop by that much because of all these things that we built up and sort of the love and the inbound marketing that we've built up. Here's the thing, though, and I think this is one of the differences that when people talk about doing more content as part of their inbound marketing that most people usually mix up. They keep talking about themselves, they keep talking about their product, and they have the wrong mindset. They have the mindset of being an advertiser, not being a marketer, not being the type of inbound marketer that you should be today. And the mindset that I think we all need to have in order to be more lovable is the mindset of a media mogul and someone who actually is producing content and wants people just to consume and be happy with that content. There is lots and lots and lots of content that we produce at HubSpot that has nothing to do with our product or service. It is interesting to the people that we want to communicate with and we want to build a relationship with, but the content itself has almost nothing to do with our product and service. And that's just because we want people to love our content, and we want to use that as a way to build love between our audience and ourselves. And I think if you think like a media executive, you'll think about that. Now, for those of you who prefer data, I do have some data on this as well. We've done actually a study of a few thousand companies, over 7,000 different businesses, and we looked at the amount of website content they had, the number of pages in their website, and the number of leads, what their index of how many leads, new sales leads they were getting in. And you'll see there's a couple interesting things here. The first one, maybe not a shocking conclusion, if you have more content on your website, more people find you and you get more sales leads. So that's good. The second thing, though, that I think is really interesting is the shape of this curve. It is actually a curve. It's not a straight line. It's not a linear relationship. So there's a huge, huge benefit to increasing the amount of content you have, not by 10, 20, 30%, but by 4 or 5 times more content. So think about what you can do to build a much larger content machinery as part of your inbound marketing, and you're going to get much better results. So don't just post another 5 or 10 blog articles. What's your long-term strategy to post 500 or 5,000 of them? That's going to get you the really big returns because, again, that curve is nonlinear. You can see the same effect here. We studied just blog posts, the number of blog posts that companies have, and the number of inbound sales leads that they're getting, and you'll see sort of that same effect. The line does go up, but it's sort of this non-linear effect. If you have a lot more, you get a lot more benefit. And so that's sort of the same conclusion there as well. So that's hopefully a little bit of proof about the importance of content. All right, now let's flip to the other side of inbound marketing. Let's flip to the context side. What is context? Why is that important? How does it make you more lovable? Context is understanding the notion of the relationship that you have with someone. Understanding all the information about them and using that to communicate back with them. It's sort of making your marketing much more personal, I think, is a way to think about it. Now, there's a few companies that do this really, really well. Really well. Amazon is sort of the classic example of companies that do this really well. This is my co-founder, this is Dharmesh, and he works at HubSpot. And there's 2 important things you need to know about Dharmesh. He loves to write code, and he has a 24-month-old kid. And so what does Amazon show him? They show him books about how to write code and books that are appropriate for raising a young child. It's the perfect thing to show to Dharmesh. Now, if you take our CEO, Brian Halligan, he doesn't write any code and he has no kids. And so you want to market to him something totally different. And then Amazon knows a lot about him, and they know he loves baseball. He lives in Boston, so they try to sell him books about the Red Sox. They sell him books about doing venture capital deals, because that's something he does a lot of as well. And he loves the Grateful Dead. He's a huge fan of the Grateful Dead. He's been to more than like 50 concerts. And so they try to sell him books about the Grateful Dead as well. And that's the perfect thing to sell to Brian Halligan. Netflix does this well. There's lots of companies that do this well, but they're all really, really big brands typically, and most of us run-of-the-mill marketers that are just trying to do our job, just trying to be a little bit more lovable, we haven't yet figured out how to do this. And what I think we need to figure out how to do is some simple ways as normal marketers. We don't have the 400 developers that Amazon has to do these crazy algorithms. We can't do the $1 million prize to improve the algorithm the way Netflix did. We can't do those things. But are there some simple things that we can start to do? The first thing I think we should start to do as marketers is start to put all of our customer information into one place. The horrible side effect of this huge plethora of new tools that we have is we have information about our customers living in very different places. We have information about one person on Facebook. We have information about that same person on Twitter. We have information about them in maybe our CRM system, maybe some other system that processes orders. We have information about what they visited on our website in some website analytics program. And unless you put all that stuff together into one place, you can't ever have an effective contextual relationship with those customers. So that's the first thing. I think you need to figure out how do you get all that stuff in one place, because the great part about social is you have this new way of communicating with customers. I think the horrible part is those customers think that you know about that Twitter conversation when they're calling your phone line. And frankly, you should. But most of us don't. So that's one thing you should think about. The second thing you should think about is when you're communicating with them in every possible way, the simplest way is probably email. Use that context, the notion of that relationship, to have a more effective, more personalized discussion with them. Now, I think it goes beyond email, though, and this is where the other companies get it much better than most of us marketers. It should be how you interact with them on your website, through your mobile apps, other things like that. And maybe it's not a completely personalized experience the way Amazon's is, but at least if someone's already a customer of yours and they go to your homepage, maybe you shouldn't show them the big button that says, hey, sign up to become a customer, because they're already a customer, right? Maybe you should show them something else. Little things like that. If you can figure out how to do those things, I think it's going to make your marketing more lovable. Your customers and your prospects are going to like you for it. So this brings me back to the lovability problem that we have as marketers. I'm actually really passionate about figuring out how we as marketers can solve this problem. I really want all of us to be more lovable in the public's eye. I want Gallup to run a poll 5 years from now and have marketing to be a much more lovable profession than it used to be. And there's lots of reasons for this. One is I hate telling people at cocktail parties that I'm a marketer if they're not a marketer, because then they sort of snicker at you and think you're sort of cheesy and spammy, and that's annoying. But the second thing is that, similar to Dharmesh, I also have a young child. He's 18 months old. This is him. This is John. You can actually follow him on Twitter. He has 3,000 followers. It's John Volpe. And someday John is going to go to school, and he's going to have career day at school. And I want to be able to stand up at the front of that classroom and tell everyone that, yes, like, I'm a marketer, and have John tell all of his friends, like, yes, my dad does marketing, and not have them snicker at him like I sell used cars or send a bunch of spam all day, right? So I hope that all of you will join me in that quest to make marketing more lovable, figure out how to do marketing in a more inbound fashion, use more content, use more context to have a better relationship with your customers, and put all that stuff together so we can hopefully all be much more respected as a profession and be much more lovable. Thank you.